Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet. Part of the birthday process for me, particularly as an aging adult, is associated with getting a small number of gifts for myself. This is really more associated with some kind of intimate discussion that I have with myself on some level at some time. I really am a man boy in many forms. If I have any itches, I can typically scratch them. I'm not a spendthrift in any light, but I don't mind spending occasional small amounts of money for occasional small things. And really, the luxury that I find in my life is my ability to just have these whims and scratch them periodically. One of the things that has interested me recently and YouTube has been marketing to me is associated with war rations, like military war rations, which is rather curious. It appeared in my feed. I watched a few videos associated with it, and I thought to myself, why don't I buy some Vietnam War era rations just to experience what they're like, to get the smell, these kind of things. For a birthday, probably my 25th or 26th birthday, my wife and I went to Liverpool, and we went to a submarine showing place, a place where they show submarines. And in fact, this place I don't think exists anymore, because the submarine that was shown, the Second World War era German submarine that was shown on the horizon, has since been cut up and put, I think, in a ferry display area somewhere around Liverpool. In any case, going to this display, going into the military boats, going into the submarines that were available, I came to the gift shop and noted that they had military oil, like military gun oil, which for me is such a signature scent. I was sorry that I didn't purchase some and just take it on, because when I smell it again, very occasionally, usually in museum settings, I think this is just such an amazing scent, and it reminds me of my childhood going around the Australian War Memorial. And it's with this notion that I bought the Vietnam War era rations to just get a smell, a sense of the smell of these things. And what's particularly curious when you open one of them, I bought 3, I've opened 1 so far. They have inside toilet paper, chewing gum, matches, cigarettes, coffee, instant milk, salt, and sugar. And the combination of the tobacco smell from the cigarettes and the mint smell from the chewing gum permeates the packs as they are now, or certainly the one that I opened. And it was really very curious. I'm not a smoker, I have no use for the cigarettes, but the cigarettes were actually a really striking smell. And also the gum, after looking at it for about 30 seconds, I popped it in my mouth and chewed it with a view, what could go wrong with gum? And actually the gum maintained its flavour. It was amazing, actually chewing this gum that is older than I am and still getting that mint flavour. After about 10 minutes, it started tasting a little cardboardy. But it was a really very interesting experience. Many of my friends are men who were in Vietnam. It's an interesting thing that Vietnam War was primarily the reason that my parents got together. The Bob Dylan protest concert was where they met. And the Vietnam War really defines me in terms of my birth, my parents meeting and my birth subsequent, but also that so many men that I encounter in the US that I have friendships with, some quite deep friendships, are Vietnam War veterans. It's actually quite astonishing the number of folk that went to serve in Vietnam in this country who are people that I interact with and also are really positive forces in my life. In terms of Heron Stone, who I record Stone Ape with on occasion when I'm not working ridiculous hours, I find the ability to have these kind of conversations and this kind of relationship really important. And it also makes me think quite strongly that there was something about the Vietnam War, in particular, the impact of people who normally would not participate in military service going and participating because of the threat of the draft, but also the fact that they'd have slightly more control over their lives if they actually enlisted. It's a very strange period, and it's a period that is just inextricable from my life in a very meaningful sense. I think also associated with the Second World War, in particular my father being born, actually, like I was, a year following the completion of the Second World War. And I think these two wars and the history of these wars, the components of these wars, so many factors associated with these wars have had an impact both on my father and subsequently on me. And it's foolhardy not to acknowledge that in some really profound way. So as I smelt these rations, as I inspected the toilet paper, as I sniffed the cigarettes and chewed the gum, I thought to myself, this is an important thing to acknowledge at 40 years, the impact that this thing has had on me. Very fascinating, very interesting. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.